Greetings all. Vanna here. Welcome to Vibes with the Archives.
And I'm Kymmy, and today's episode is going to be on vibrational levels. Did you want to get started on the first example there, Vanna?
Well, one thing that I think I want to make clear before we get in on this is like what exactly is vibrational levels. So when you're coming into the spirituality side of like the internet or culture, witch talk, there's a lot of talk about like, that's a high vibrational, that's a low vibrational. So, energetically, it is like a range. When someone is operating and says that they are working from a high vibrational place, I want to stress that this does not mean that this person is better than you or another in any other way. That's one
Absolutely.
issue that I have come across when I'm talking about like I'm doing what is high vibrational. People have this immediate egotistical knee jerk reaction of because what they are doing is what I would deem low vibrational. They are somehow lesser or worse than me, and that is not the case at all.
I totally agree. It's like for me, it's like tuning into a certain radio station just because the radio station is on number 400 instead of 93 or something like that. Doesn't mean that it's a higher vibrational level. It just means it's another radio station.
No, and the radio station is actually going to be a great analogy for us to go back and forth into because in my experience there's a lot of work that is done with shifting those vibrations consciously, like changing, like we have the examples of your clothing, your food, how you're cooking, what you're cooking. Those decisions that you are making, are you going to take the time to make a spinach frittata, or are you just going to get McDonald's on your way to work? Those things all have energy. My mom got a message recently, and the message was basically when you are on we had the example of Tiger Boulevard because that's a big intersection in our area. But when you're just on the road, what you're focusing on, it very much sets up a standard or a framework for what you will start seeing and what you will continue to be seeing. So this goes back to like how affirmations, how you were saying like what is the worst that could happen, what is the best that could happen. Vibrationally, the decisions that you make on what you are choosing to eat, what you are choosing to focus on, and the vibrations attached to that will start formatting your day. So, one thing that I personally had an issue with when I became sensitive to energies is media. I personally do not like the shows NCIS or Criminal Minds or things like that. I I find them to be very low vibrational because it is a lot of murder, a lot of assault, and a lot of people hurting other people. And I understand that it's from the perspective of people that are trying to help, but I just find the entire media to be energetic bile and just not my bag. Again, I'm not dissing anyone that enjoys that form of media, but for myself personally, um, I did not like how I felt when I was exposed to that media because everything that you go through, you start like that becomes your aura, that becomes your base vibration. So when you have people constantly around you that are saying you're horrible, you're horrible, you're horrible, you are going to continue to do things that are horrible for you, like eating the garbage, drinking the monsters. And that's because that's in the vibration that you're familiar with. It's easier for you to reach that. And then you attract people of a similar low vibration, and this just repeats cycle of trauma and abuse and negativity in our lives.
And see, and I'm the opposite with who likes the macaw and all that other stuff is because it was a way of reminding me that there is a way out and that that I wasn't alone too.
No, absolutely. Believe me, there are like one of my mom's favorite movies is Trick or Treat with the murder munchkin that just goes around and you see that the principal that's a murderer, he's gonna get eaten by the werewolves. And his little murder child. There is that juxtaposition that comes in so often of just like I was discussing this with Mama earlier, just like the imposter syndrome that I'm facing with like wanting to be a public speaker or a motivational speaker on spirituality and authenticity and activism. So much of what I say would be thrown back at me, so I had to be very careful with the things that I say and like absolutes and things like that. And so what I have found with having awareness of the vibrations that I am intaking and like my habits, like when I'm in a low vibrational place, the things that I'm eating, giving myself grace because I am just a human being. I am innately flawed and deal with struggles. I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and in that, I learn what it means to struggle. Does that mean I am perfect all the time? No. Does that mean I make mistakes and indulge in things that vibrationally and energetically are bad for me? Yes, I do that. I don't berate myself. I don't shame myself when those things happen because there is going to be no good in shaming myself. It will, pardon me, it will just repeat that cycle. And so when it comes to things like addiction and low vibrational things like alcohol, I am personally 2 going on 3 years sober from alcohol.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thank you. It has been a hard thing.
I can understand that. I think it's been about a year for alcohol, but like with like big addictions as well, like over 8 years. So like I understand that it, although, even when we were at our lowest vibrations, spirit's there helping you still. So don't think that, dreams or that things won't work out for you, because even though I was like doing those low vibrational things because, I didn't know better yet, and it was the only way to cope, and spirit would rather you cope than not cope at all. And
Absolutely.
and when you go through that, there was still things that would happen for me that were auspicious, even though it was like I was still doing I was in addiction. I was people pleasing and putting myself in dangerous situations, and abandoning myself. Spirit was still there. It used to annoy the ever living piss out of my the ops, as you would call it, or like haters, because they would expect me to fall down and have nothing, and then all of a sudden I'd show up. I'm like, okay, well, I have a new job, I have a new place to live, I'm getting this, I'm doing that. And I might have not been took care of it or appreciated it and respected it properly. And that's the difference with vibrational levels, is that you start to appreciate and take care of yourself and the things around you more, which is why when you
Absolutely.
start to notice, like myself, I recently got a set of stainless steel cookware because I realized that Teflon's really bad for you and it gives off stuff, and like the going to wooden spoons and utensils and stuff for stirring and everything, because my plastic ones were falling apart and going into the food, like, because they were probably old. But still, it's just not good to have to worry about that kind of stuff anyways. Whereas the wood, you know when it's time to get rid of it, it's discolored and stuff. But like taking better care of yourself. I know at one point with the vibrational levels of the clothes, um, there was like spandex and all that kind of stuff. I would like to wear certain kind of clothes, and it started annoying me. It would annoy me, it would make me upset. And you most people would be like, "Oh, that's autism and stuff like that." But no, there's certain levels, and like I know cotton's really one of the good ones, and that's what we started wearing, my partner and I, because the other ones was just so irritating, and plus it would make you really hot too. Like because it's plastic melting, but there's a lot of different levels. I think linen or silk or something like that is the highest form
Yeah,
of
like
vibration.
the more natural it is, the better the vibration of it is. So like one thing, workout which I absolutely love her. One thing that she constantly talks about is putting high vibrational foods in your body. And what she means by that is like living foods. So, like greens,
Mhm.
vegetables, a big ass spinach salad with nuts in it is one of the best things energetically to give yourself. One thing that my family has done is stop using the microwave. It has
Yes,
been over
that's
a year
definitely.
since I
Yes.
have microwaved anything personally, and I can say it has, I believe that that and not eating irradiated food has been a huge contributing factor as to why I have been able to naturally have a menstruational cycle. Because that's not something that was common for me because I have PCOS. I had to have it medically induced until I started making health changes in my body to make myself a healthier vessel. And cutting out microwave food is one thing that I seriously believe changed it because when you microwave something, you're basically emitting it massive levels of radiation, which
Radiation.
is a vibration in and of itself. It's a rather low
Mm-hmm.
vibration when you're looking at the spectrum. And you could put the healthiest thing, like miso soup, which is like liquid penicillin,
Yeah.
and you can put miso soup in the microwave and it will come out, and nutritionally it will be garbage. So nothing you get from a microwave is still good food. So like all those like commercials and adverts and services of just like, yeah, we deliver healthy food to your door, all you have to do is microwave. No, it's completely devoid, because when
Yeah.
you microwave something it is garbage at that
One
point.
of the things that I started doing when I was on a low income and not having the best of budget, because I knew this, and having the certain vibrations, not having enough money for the cotton and everything else like that. One thing I went and did is, I know it will cost a bit, but you should be able to make it last for a while, from a health food store or where you would get like vitamins from. The highest vibrational intake food that you can take is chlorophyll. And that's just liquid green gold. You can get them in tablets as well, but it's what plants produce for themselves to intake directly from the sun. And you intake that, and it helps with lowering addictions and like to caffeine and all that kind of stuff. Um, and you can move on to natural stuff like mushroom, hot chocolate and coffees. But like mostly what's definitely changed for me a lot, um, was taking magnesium before bed as well. That was suggested to me by my pharmacist as well, to help settle moods, and it also helps higher your vibrational level naturally while you are sleeping. But yeah, chlorophyll is, yeah, it's really helped me. It can stain your stuff if you get the liquid green stuff. So get a vessel that you don't mind staining green. Um, or you can get the capsules, like I said. It's really good. I honestly, it made a really big difference in my life, considering y- I couldn't afford to you know, indulge in, the proper combinations of foods that I needed. And of course, the environments that I was around as well. So having that little extra boost is nice to have, and being able to grab a thing of that to last you a month because you aren't able to eat stuff that, may have come from the food bank or wherever you're getting it from. It gives a boost, a little bit of hit of sunshine.
Yeah. And those little hits of sunshine is like, it's a practice that I've had to do. So, like, if I am in like a really stressed or an anxious state of mind and I'm just like thinking about like all the bills coming up or things that are out of my control, things that I cannot handle in the moment, I don't dismiss them, but I don't allow them to control me. So I do something that actively shifts my focus and it becomes something that I want to do. So I have
Yeah.
developed a beautiful Minecraft world with my mom that we work on the end of the day. Or I think about my story, or I come over to the art tablet and I start drawing on something. If there is something that is draining my vibration, that is draining my mindset and making me more anxious, making me more scared, I have to take that moment and that awareness of being like, no, I am aware that this is a problem, but I cannot handle this in the moment. And I will shift my focus and shift my energy towards something of a higher vibration, something that does make me happy. And this helps me not stress so much about that problem. And I can often find a solution for it that I simply wouldn't have been if I had been running around like a chicken without its head.
I love that. No, that's what I ended up learning from my therapist as well, was like that all emotions are important, but they have a time and place, and you scan throughout your body. And for me, it was a treasure trove, and you put it in there because you know that it's important and you can come back to it later because that's what treasure is. And you take treasure of all the emotions that your body gives you, because that's the way it's communicating to you how you're gonna be transmuting energies into something more, and develop like a sense of like self, even because if you bottle it up for so long and you don't come back to it as well, it's going to it can manifest into an entity. Honestly, that's how most of them come about, is from holding emotions in certain parts of the body, and this distortion level goes so up that it creates something. And that's how you hear on this plane of creation, because we're alchemists. Sometimes you can, unknowingly create that. Not, you create these entities and lower level, you know, annoyances that you would have to protect yourself from. But if you let those go for too long, it can really birth something else. So you want to be mindful, and make happy thoughts. Like when I think of like Tinkerbell and like Peter Pan and such, I always think of like, what are my happy thoughts? Like what would helps make you fly, what helps make you feel like happy inside. And over time, like, it will get easier to remember these things, because it's like when you go out and you're like looking for yellow cars, and then all of a sudden you see yellow cars coming by more because your brain is like yellow car. um
Yeah, it's exactly that same thing of like when someone gets a new car, you start seeing that car everywhere. It's not that everyone suddenly got that car, it's now part of your realm of reality to be aware of that. So it shows up more.
Winning.
Yeah,
I love that.
those little active changes are like it having this shift, it's not going to be instantaneous, especially not at the beginning. But when you make that decision to take, for one, responsibility for your energetic vibration, you can have a greater impact on it. And one thing that I've done to take responsibility for my energetic vibration is like when I know I'm upset, I go to my Spotify and I will play binaural beats or frequency music. I've been playing a lot of Saint Finnegan. He's an incredible artist because he mixes frequencies and healing hertz in with his vocals in his music. And so there that's really awesome. He just had an entire album come out called Inner Work. And every song on there touches on like a different thing of like grief and anger and self-motivation and trust and freedom. And it's just beautiful. So this goes back to one thing that we were talking about a few episodes ago and how much sound and frequency plays into your own frequency. And so simply playing in the background of your house while you're cleaning or relaxing at the end of the day or doing your work, things that you would normally always be doing, instead of playing a really loud, aggressive rap song or a really heavy rock song, playing these frequency music, playing these hertz music, and sitting in the uncomfortableness of the silence of it. Because one thing that I have found is that living in a low vibrational energy or people that are stuck in a low vibrational place cannot stand the sound of silence and must constantly be having stimulus because they cannot stand the thoughts and things that come up in their mind. My aunt was this kind of person. There would be a conversation happening in the room, a movie playing on the TV, and she would be either watching an Among Us video or scrolling through manga on her phone. There was always at least three different forms of stimulation going on around her at all times because she simply could not deal with silence. When my brother first came back from the military, this was a huge thing for him and still is for us now. He is incredibly overstimulating for my mom and I because he cannot stand silence. He must always be talking. He must always be talking about all the things that are going on in his life. So, like, it's just taking him to work, it's like five different conversations of him talking about every little detail that's going on with his truck. And, like, no one started this conversation, but because he cannot stand silence, he has to create that noise. He has to create that disturbance and that distraction. It's always so focused on something negative. It's like when someone gets off of work at the end of the day and all they do is rehash their entire day. Like they're venting about your day is one thing, but when you start getting worked up into the energy and the frustration of the day again, then that is enabling the low vibration to ruin your day again and again and again. And this is one boundary that I have had to like lay down with people like, I'm sorry, you cannot come at me with that. Because what you're doing is vomiting energetic bile on me. And I have a boundary with that.
Yep. It's actually, you know how everyone calls it spiraling, and in a
Mm-hmm.
depiction of a chart, you will notice that fear being and hate and then annoyance, and then it'll go up to the next one, and it'll go all the way up until it will start circling in the other direction for like hope, love, understanding, peace. And you'll notice if you look up a frequency chart of emotions, and it will show you how different it goes, and it goes all the way to the top of enlightenment, and it will tell you those different frequency energetic levels if you want to look up what you're trying to manifest in your life. As Vanna was saying, there are people who cater to that with actual, you know, names and intentions, but there's also ones where you can just go out if you want to feel courageous. That's a 200. And that's where I also want to like bring up as well, like the lowest vibration is shame. So shaming others for their vibration is not, it's not high vibrational, and I don't even want to say that myself, and I am stuttering over it because I don't want to shame anyone else for their where they're at. Everyone has their own journey and their lifetime, and not everyone's going to be in the state of enlightenment 24/7. We are human. We are here for the human experience, not the universe experience, because the universe is already being experienced in its whole. It's us that are being in this state of now in alchemy to transmute all this energy constantly every day. Like, we don't want to sit at a 50 and sit in apathy all the time and like have annoyance um and then there's like desire at 125, which is like not very expansion, but it's not a low vibrational either. And I think that every single vibrational level has a job. And I think it has a purpose for us to learn from each one of those things. So, like, I just wanted to make that statement as well. So, if you feel like you are in a low vibrational, like, there is a time for grief and to let things go. We just don't have to sit in that rut forever. Just like with there's some people who will state that weed is a low vibrational substance, and it's a medicine that can be abused like anything else, and that will lead into addiction. Yes, if you're using it for addiction, then yes. But in its whole, sits at 420. And 420 sits between reason and love. Okay, so it's not low by any means. Like if you were sitting at peace at 60, is 600 and you go down to 420, that's a bit of a drop. You were at peaceful, you might feel a little bit knocked off your pedestal, your crown might get a little bit shook going down. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna be sitting in shame unless like someone shames you for it and you take that on as your own instead of the projection that it is.
Absolutely. You can do incredible things in meditation when you are in an elevated state like that. When I lived in Illinois, um, shortly after I turned 21, weed became legal in the state, and I was able to buy it from a dispensary and experience it.
Nice.
And
I was
I had some incredible visualizations and meditations in that time because not only was I just able to get my brain to focus, but I was able to tap into places that I could get to without it, but it was so much easier to get to with it.
Yeah, some
And
people use it for the tool that it is instead of abusing it. It's awesome.
exactly, it's like you have to have a level of responsibility. There's respect, but also there's like another word. Accountability. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. You have to have a level of accountability with it. Like, if you just take it and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, creatives can use it if they're in a creative block and suddenly have the ability and focus and inspiration to push through that and make something really beautiful. But you have to hold yourself accountable when you just spend the entire time playing a video game and fucking off. But also, again, where we had earlier, giving yourself grace. Maybe that's
Yeah.
exactly what you needed to do. You can't always be turned on. You can't
Yeah.
always be at that go, go, go. At some point, sometimes spirit is telling you exactly what you need to do, and that is to rest, and that is to slow the fuck down. And so there are those moments where spirit drains you of your vibration, drains you of your energy, so you don't have the strength to do anything. And guess what? If you still continue to push through that, if you still be like, okay, I'm going to just make another coffee and get through my day, that's when you get sick.
Yep.
Because if you don't make time for your health, you will have to make time for your illness.
It's like they turned on the safety brake on the car and you're still pressing the gas. It's like,
For it.
brace for it. And it's like also remembering like the intention of what you're doing in these energies, like when you're going to go go cook and you're angry and you're grumpy about it all of a sudden, that you're putting that energy into the food that you're and then consuming, and then you're like, why am I still grumpy? um
That's why nothing my dad
it's
makes is ever good.
yes, and it will taste like it, and that's why some people like, what's the secret ingredient is love, and it's so true.
Yeah,
It
people
really
treat it
is.
like it's trivial, but like, see, that's the thing. It's just like when you come into spirituality, you learn like a lot of the things of like what goes around comes around. Secret ingredient in it is love. Your words matter. Everything that
Yeah,
we're taught and is like trite at a certain
leaves a
point
bad taste
is
in mouth.
it is still like, it is still real. But again, it's like we have to be at our own vibrational level to receive that. We have to be at our own level of energy
Yes.
to receive and comprehend that ourselves. It's like the song Acceptance. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. When I first heard that song and the line, I need to have acceptance in myself, I was in a bitter place and I was just like, oh, it was just another sunshine flower song. And it has become one of my most powerful songs because I had to change my mindset and my own energy around it and how I approached it. But again, that was a decision that I had to make.
Yep.
Like how some people, like when they smoke weed, it it completely ruins their experience. They don't have a
Mhm.
good experience. They feel awful. They see things. Some people literally cannot handle it. It is not everyone's experience or
No, you don't
purpose
have to
on this
partake.
earth to have a similar experience as you. That's why it's so important to engage with people that are fundamentally different from who you are, vibrationally different from who you are.
That's like the same with like me, like going into the music industry. And well, I hope not to be the part of that. I hope to be an independent. But with my musical journey, having to go out and going to bars and like going and networking at these events where there's a lot of energies and different vibrations, and people have different ideas about what an artist is supposed to look like, how artists are supposed to get where they're supposed to go. There's people who are like, oh, that's not the way I did it and I'm successful. And it can really get a bit much, first
It,
and foremost. But
yeah,
at
I
the
get it.
same time, it's not going to be the same. There's going to be someone who's going to see that and be like, no, that's not for me. I'm going to be at home with my feng shui house. Like, you can do things like that around your house. Like, I don't have an actual plant, but on the side of the house where there's supposed to be a plant, I have a tapestry of a bonsai tree to encompass that, bring those energies through, making sure that doorways are flowy and not having things blocking. Cleaning your house is a nice way of like protecting your home. Doing your cat's litter is like chasing away the demons. It doesn't always have to be lighting sage and like doing cleansings. You can also like burning a bundle stick. You don't have to do it like you can, but a best way to do it is like make sure you're feeding yourself good and cleaning the home, trying to like say hello to the nature around you when you're outside. Like, I think if anything, if you talk to a tree once a day, I'm honestly, I feel like I'm protected at that point. I'm like, yeah, my vibrations top.
I mean, that does track. I mean, trees are connected to each other for miles. One thing that
Right.
I found was incredibly beautiful yet horrifying when we learned that the woodland that I hiked through was getting logged is that
Mhm.
like when one tree gets cut down through their root network, every single tree in that area will feel that connection.
Yep.
And there have actually been places and situations where the trees from the area would feed nutrients into the stump of the one that was cut down and it would start to regrow again.
I love that. And they won't do there's like this thing where their leaves won't touch each other directly so that they have enough room, so that the bushes and all the flowers and stuff below will have enough sunshine to grow. So it's not less like just the trees. And fungi do the same thing. Like it's all connected of a vibration. It reminds me of Ferngully where like Krista's like, can't you feel its pain? Oh,
I love Fern Gully so much.
so yeah, like having that, you may have slime above you, beneath you, and like there might be hexus around, but remember that, that growth, be invested in your growth. Then you are doing a good job. Like Vanna said with grace, if you're taking action, expect results. It might take a while, sure. You don't you don't find growth out of a decade of poor choices. You don't get that change in one day. So
No, I
not
am
because you
actually
wanted
very
to.
wary when massive changes like that happens quickly and suddenly, because in
Mhm.
my experience, if it happens quickly, it can be taken away quickly.
Yep, that's why I never complained about how my channel grew, and I was like, I have 100 followers for the first 2 years. Like for the first year and a half, I think I had like only 12 followers. I was like, that's okay. I was like, if I was in a classroom right now and I had 12 people in front of me, that's a full classroom. I'm gonna say, okay.
No, seriously. Like, there's so
So
many
like,
ways and reasons when, like, my vibration was not applicable or in attunement with the energy that I needed. And so, like, if I had gotten the blessing at that time, I would have squandered it, or I would have ruined it, or something would have happened and I wouldn't have done it to the best of the ability that it could do. So, understanding that, like, spirit's timeline is its own thing and you have no idea what's going on with that, that takes a certain
also,
level of faith.
oh, absolutely. And also changing your order, it's like going to the restaurant and being like, yeah, can I get a pizza? And then they start making the pizza for you. You're like, actually, you want to know what? Scratch all of that. I want tacos. I really want tacos. And then they're like, okay. And then you're like, I actually want chicken buffalo. Adding extras, like knowing that you, because I've been hard on myself, like being like, am I not in the right vibrational level? Am I not doing enough for this? I thought, you like the energy of like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. How long am I supposed to wait? And yes, to be patient in yourself is a very big one as well. Vibrational level will go down if you're not being patient with your manifestations and your taking care of yourself. Like if you're like, "Oh, I'm smoking weed right now. That's bad. That's bad." Well, yeah, because you're freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, you're painting the entire thing. Like, no, it could be an incredible thing where, like, you finally get a moment to just breathe. Like,
Yep.
maybe you did have a really stressful week, or you completed a massive project and you'd be like, you know what? I deserve this. Self care
I'm gonna
looks
chill
different
out.
for everyone. Yeah.
Get a new canvas because you were like, you want to know what? I aced my test and I'm going to take the next week off and paint whatever I want because I haven't been able to paint something in like a long time and I'm sick. And you go to the store and you get yourself a canvas, whatever it is that you feel like. If you like with me when I went through the fire and stuff like that, we had a lot of other things to pay with the insurance payout that we needed to get that was more important than my library. Um, so getting some books to like just start myself uh is a good thing. Like it helps heal that part. So remember to like take moments and go back for your inner child and inner teenager and remind them that there's not everything needs to be a fight and you have your own back. One of the biggest forms of protection, as I was saying in the other episodes, was having your vibrational level be high and believing in yourself.
Yeah, especially when those bad things happen, like when you are at those moments and what you are perceiving as a failure, what you are perceiving as something that you fucked up, giving yourself grace in those moments because yeah, maybe you genuinely did do something wrong, but you're given an opportunity to learn from it. And that's another thing that like it's so overplayed in media and society of just like, oh, you can learn from your mistakes, but seriously, that's what they're there for. To learn what didn't work, learn what was not for you, and not punish yourself. Why do we punish ourselves so much?
It's also because like we aren't given moments of air, for air. We aren't given the moments to learn, especially in the society. And I think over time we get to manifest that, especially since it's not wanting us to like. We aren't given that margin of air to learn. Like they say we're supposed to. I think that's just a golden rule nugget that they give us, but they don't actually intend on letting us do that. It has to be learned from the inside.
No. And like one thing that I've noticed from talking with my new friend is like a lot of the work and things that I have done and things that I have learned through my spirituality is just what you're taught when you start going to therapy. Learning
Yep.
to be present in your everyday life, learning to ground yourself, learning to forgive yourself, learning to look at things from a different way. These are all things that I have learned through my spirituality that you're just taught through therapy. And it,
So that's how mine got together. I always make the joke because a lot of my friends are actually went into psychology, and including myself, that are like do herbology and everything else like that. So it's like psych spirituality is just spicy psychology,
I mean,
and
yeah,
like
it's psychology that you're not afraid to look at the deeper roots of things.
yeah. Oh, it's a lot of things that become uncovered too. Like I believe that there was a lot of stuff that was involved with this. That was in the Library of Alexandria that we were just lost to, and having those different events that happen. And I know it can be tough on our vibrations as well. So remember to give yourself breaks from media and such because, like, I want to remind everyone as much as they show us all the bad that's going on in the world, and I do understand the gravity of the situations, and I don't want it to seem like I don't care because I do. It's the opposite of like that. There's a lot of good going on the ground. There's people who are adopting these kids who have been war torn, and I know that there's also kids' lives being lost, but there's people who are caring and waking up, and that there's these opportunities for us to come together and do better and have like it's like shaking a mat off with all the dirt and everything. It flies up into the air and it makes it a bit like foggy to see the clear and, overall picture. But after the end, you beat the rug a little bit and you sweep it off and it looks, it has a better stability to build on and to lay down a solid foundation.
Absolutely. I have to talk about this with my mom all the time about like when we just had to sit and like look at the world and everything, just like why the fuck do we have to experience and go through all of this? Is because like the analogy she was given by Spirit of like what are you focusing on when you're in the intersection of the highway? Like are you focusing on every person that's cutting you off? And letting that annoy you all the way to your destination so when you get to the store you're going in annoyed? Or are you going to change the song to one of your favorite playlists? Or are you going to start talking about that really awesome lunch that you had at that restaurant there? and then go into the grocery store with a high vibration and a completely different energy. We're given the opportunity right now to practice our awareness and responsibility for our energy. Now, both of those things are very big and frightening sometimes because, like, when you go into, like, I'm getting like the analogy of like a family reunion, and you have the everyone's expectations of you, who everyone has perceived you to be up until this point in your life based on what they know from you, who they have been in your life. And then there's where you really want to be. And so we have those decisions that we have to make of what is important to me right now. Do I just want to push through and get through this situation? Or am I going to make the most of this situation? Am I going to make the best of this situation? Do I just want to get in and out of the grocery store? Or am I going to enjoy the experience and see? Maybe I'll have a lovely conversation with someone down the paper towel aisle. And like those little moments of reception, how receptive are you to the energy around you? Because if you are in a low vibrational energy, you'll really only be receptive to other low vibrations.
I was gonna state, like, when I was inside of my psychology class for the science of well-being, it's actually scientifically tested for those who like the science parts that they are learning that, you know, sharing food together can help release the like serotonin, and so that vibration together, having the vibration of someone else there with you sharing that experiences causes things to fire off for you, like to heighten your vibrational level, which is serotonins and dopamines. um you can also, like, because you know metaphysics are involved with frequencies as well, and uh much like with not only like addiction and sharing food and everything else like that, but when you are in the science of well-being, when you go up to other people, it's said that most people that were interviewed beforehand, they thought that it was going to be a bad experience, that those people didn't want us to, they don't want me to bother them, they're busy, they don't want to talk to me. And they had it. They had like 17 people they interviewed, and then they sent them out onto the train down in the downtown area to really make a point of showing people. And their one job was to just start a conversation about any topic they wanted, and to just talk to the person next to them on one bus ride. And by the end of it, the majority of them had a new friend, or at least left the experience feeling better. And this honestly changed my mindset and changed my like life a lot. I started going out, I went and got, and now I'm having a concert here. Like, I do poetry meets and a lot of other things, like going up and starting a conversation doesn't feel as daunting, because we that everyone's feeling just as much as rejected and out of place. And if it takes 1 second of you being that high vibrational point, now of course not letting energy vampires take your well earned energy, and to not to let you, don't let them bring you down, but like have discernment, but and knowing if people are receptive to this energy, but knowing that even in science and through psychology and magic and alchemy, that you can alchemize the situation. You can take that person's day from a regular every single day event of them going to work on the same bus every single day, and now they had one day where they had a conversation, and they can think about that one conversation every single time. It will bring back up the same level of emotion, and it brings a wonderful memory to heighten your vibrational level. Like Vanna was saying, thinking about those happy thoughts.
You made a very good point about noting how receptive people are to them. Because this goes back to one practice that I do that I call my aggressive positivity, where I'm going out somewhere. It is my job to make one random person smile with the compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been moments where I just got a sweet smile and a thank you. There have been moments where I had full conversations with these people. And there have been other moments where I've thrown people off and they were very jarred or genuinely upset because they weren't in an energy that correlated to what I was putting out there. Does this deter me from speaking up like this to people? No, because there have been so many instances where I gave someone a much needed smile on their face, but I also know now how jarring it is to be met with that level of love and adoration because my new friend, we've been hanging out some, and she was telling me, she was giving me compliments about like how beautiful my eyes were or how wonderful I of a soul I am. And I literally had to take a moment and be like, oh, that's thank you. I don't often hear that myself. Like
Oh,
I
true.
say that. Yes, it is true. And I do claim and affirm that, but to hear it with like that level of conviction, the same level of energy and adoration that I give in my compliments, it was a very nice like juxtaposition that from where I normally am.
That's what it is. The kindness you gives out is returned to you. It might not be through the face and the situation you wanted to see it through, but it does return to you.
Yeah, and
And that's like,
that's not why I do the positivity dumping is to rack up a bill of good
no,
karma.
it just happens. It just happens.
No, I do it because the world is shit. And if I can make one person smile for 1 minute, then I would have done my job as a light warrior.
See, I'm Delulu with the Pisces, and I'm like, the world is
We we,
epic.
we ride this
It's just
Delulu train, my friend.
it's the Delulu trait, and the world is epic. And I
Delulu!
think that we just don't get to see it as much because we're too busy not talking to each other, and that's what they want. They want
Absolutely.
to keep us divided, and they're doing. That's how the system works, and it's working well. Uh, um, but I'm a rebel, so I'm gonna dismantle that shit. Uh,
Oh yeah, no, I am definitely the person that is in Walmart with their headphones on in their own world singing music aloud. That is literally
see,
who I am when I'm shopping by myself.
but it's also the same thing too when you don't get frustrated with yourself either. Our collective here, if you are noticing that people aren't hearing you, so you may have good advice, but they're just it's falling on deaf ears is the expression because they're not tuned into the same vibrational level as you. That's why you may notice that someone takes the same advice you gave, but they're on the same vibrational level as them. So it's not that it's not the the words. It was what vibrational level you're at. And don't take offense. That just means that the message was supposed to come through a different way, and spirit will keep trying until it does. Sometimes when I'm going through, and I do the compliment thing as well. There's a few times where my partner will even notice, and I'll like say like, "I like your shoes," and then they just keep walking, like they did not hear me, not like no headphones on, no nothing, just straight to dead to the world. I might as well be a poltergeist. And like my partner's like, I heard you. I'm like, it's okay. I like their shoes anyway. It doesn't change anything.
No,
I'm just gonna know it.
that's one thing that I've noted is that, especially with like looking at deities and the similarity between them, spirit has to use many different vessels and many different things to talk to people because each person is going to hear it from another level. This is one point of frustration with my brother is I could give him the keys to the kingdom, but because it's me saying it, his little sister, he's not going to hear anything that I say as anything serious because he's hearing it from the little girl that stole his Hot Wheels remote and was just riding it up and down the street.
Like you gotta, there is gonna be, if you change your vibrational level to get comfortable with the fact that you may have to let go of some people and cut ties with some people, or that they won't take you seriously, and you're gonna have to do it enough for you and everyone else.
Yeah, like people will fall out. It's like a sifter. If they are not in resonance with where you're going, they will fall out. And there is an inherent grief with that. And
Absolutely.
it's so important to allow yourself to grieve that because it was something that was important. It was something that was part of you, but it was not the end all be all of you. This happens so often with artists and creators when the image that they had for the project is different from what it is in the end. The image is
Yep.
always going to be different because you will learn and change so much as you're going through the metamorphosis of the project itself. And so, if the original concept of your story is completely different, allow yourself to grieve that because it's an incredible testament of how much you have grown and it has grown itself. If it's not different, if it is the exact same, at the beginning of the process of like publication or whatever the equivalent is for you, if it is the exact same at the end of it, I think that is an incredible missed opportunity of growth and refinement. And you
Yep.
are just a constant masterpiece that's ever evolving.
Absolutely. You won't end up like saying that something's low vibrational. I think we have our ebbs and flows. Like you're not going always to be at the highest point. It's like gonna snap like a rubber band and come back at you. It's like having environments as well that you may not have control over as well. So I don't want people to be feeling shame over that as well. Like neighborhoods, if you go around with um, a plant app, you may notice in your area that they don't have that many female trees, and to keep the allergies up in the area. So if you're noticing like you have allergies, you can't get rid of it might be the environment, like with certain things that you can't intake. But that's like eating it even though you know you're allergic to it. Like be mindful. And if you can change it, then yes. If you can't, like if you're, having a being allergic to everything else, such as like gluten, you can get rid of that. But if you're allergic to the pollen outside because it has nowhere to go, because there's no female trees to populate, that's not really something you can change or to feel shamed about. And of course, if you eat something every now and then and gluten yourself, you like be mindful, take accountability, like we were saying earlier, but don't be shaming yourself because that's not going to help the situation, and you can manifest more sickness within the body. Also, like checking out like with your human design type as well, and different soul contracts. Like there may be a certain type of food style that you can eat growing up, and then all of a sudden you can't eat as heavy of a foods in the morning, or you may not like a certain foods won't, you know, not that you're allergic, but it just doesn't bode well. Remember to listen to your body, like with the human design stuff. um Human design of like generators, I know some generators, you can't eat gluten. So like knowing and looking into those things as well, and learning how your body works and how your guides and what this lessons for yourself is this time, because not everyone's meant to be the good person. But if you're gonna, if you could still work towards, if you have to be the villain in someone's story, which we probably are, we
I am
all
fully
are.
claiming that I am the villain in many people's stories.
Exactly. So, like, if you are going to and you're still working to be better, then by golly, give yourself a pat on the back, because honestly, being too hard on yourself is honestly the most interfering with vibrational levels that I've met so far. Being impatient and being hard on yourself are
Yeah,
the two
being
biggest ones.
impatient and treating everything that you do like a mistake, that's like energetic McDonald's. It's so
Yeah.
bad for you, yet so readily available.
Oh yes. Oh yes, that's one as well. I wanted to bring up. Thank you. Um, Instant gratification. Be mindful of instant gratification. Okay, you are worth the wait. Like when spirits like, you want cake, here's the ingredients. And I'm not
Yeah,
talking about just only food, I'm talking about with projects, including yourself. You know, getting the tools and then not using them, like knowing that you should like do journaling, or that you should be cleansing and not practicing um positive spiritual hygiene by not constantly watching too many spiritual videos and getting your energy pulled on. Um, Cleansing your areas and self, singing a happy song so you chase away the darkness, the distortion. And there's everyone has different practices, so don't let anyone tell you that your way of getting your vibrational level higher is wrong,
yeah, just because it
because
doesn't work for someone else doesn't mean it doesn't work for you.
yeah, that's I think that's
I
like
think that was another wonderful episode, Kimmy.
yeah, it was really I love this. It's fun, yeah, I never really thought about being a co-host or a host, but it actually,
No,
it's turning out
seriously, like
so good.
the push to ask you to do this was complete spontaneous, and I'm like, I'm sure this is gonna go nowhere. But you were like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, okay. But like talking about vibrations and stuff is actually one of my favorite things to talk about with another person,
Yeah.
because there's like people could be like, oh, you know what? I actually do this thing and I always feel horrible afterwards. But it's like, sometimes we need those things that's just like, it feels really bad, but sometimes you just want the chicken nuggets. You're not gonna
Well,
go
it's
to
like
McDonald's, but maybe you'll make your own chicken nuggets.
Well, it's like an example from my own is when I was on certain I had like nerve damage, like medications that I was taking, and I was allergic to it, and getting off of it uh was killing me, and I had to go on an alcoholic diet to make sure I didn't die from the withdrawals from the baclofen.
This
And I
right
was
here,
thinking,
ladies and gentlemen, is why Vanna doesn't get prescribed medications.
there's I've had a lot of, but it was so bad because I couldn't do anything. So I was like, okay, well, normally I don't. And even my doctor's like, were you sure? Because we don't like guinea pigging with you because you have really bad reactions to things. I was like, I have nerve damage. I can't live life like this anymore. Um, and then I had an allergic reaction to it. Um, so yeah, getting off of it, I had my partner had to wake me up, and I'd be crying, I don't want alcohol. He's like, you need to, you're shutting down, I need to. um so like having it poured down your throat, like it's like one of the episode with Futurama where Bender had to go on a bender to save the world or whatever. So like alcohol is supposed to be considered low level, but it saved my life getting off of
No,
another
literally,
type.
Leela, you better not go anywhere without 2 bottles of whiskey in your system.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I felt like. So like it's it was rough. And like so like someone's low vibrational level might be another one's salvation. So I ain't the one, like I said earlier. I'd rather you cope than not cope at all. You know, healthy coping mechanisms when you're able to, but for now, if you only have, unhealthy ones, then by golly, then
You're
I'd
at
rather
least
you
dealing
cope.
with them in some way and not just like, okay, I'm going to put all my feelings here and then one day I'll die. Which
Yeah,
is literally how my grandmother taught my mom to deal with her emotions. And then we were looking back and just like, yeah, no wonder you had like bulimia and shit when you were a teenager. You had all
yep,
this bad energy trapped inside your lower chakras because you
I
affirmed
had
and put them there.
the same journey with mine as well. So like holding on to it and like having like the fear of being seen and manifesting in people as psoriasis. Of course, there's the other version of where you were burned in your past life and you brought the energetic field over to this side. We'll have to go in that at
I
another
think that's
time.
actually our next episode.
Yes, I know. I always do this. They're like, "You tied it in." I'm like, I did tie it in." So yeah, if you want to end it off, I'll
Yeah.
describe what it is.
Brightest blessings. Everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode.
Absolutely, and we will see you next time for episode number 9. We're going to be discussing lucid dreams and astral travel.
That is big level woo woo.
I'm so excited. I have so many stories. It's as a Pisces, it's one of the things that like we're
You
what
just
we
guys just
do.
walk in with like that in your Rolodex. It's just like
Yeah,
everyone is born with like a special gift. Like everyone can do it, but some people just have a natural affinity. Pisces just comes in with like 1 foot in the astral realm.
it's like what's up? I'm Danny Phantom.
God, I love that show.
Exactly. We'll see you next time. Bye everyone.
Bye.